I've got a couple of modifications to make, and as we were talking earlier, previously, in the shape of the hills, this legal hills business, it's pretty important. I mean, it's not required that everybody have exactly the same hill layout and everything, but the truth of the matter is, it does. Excuse me. It does go away. I mean, a distance to helping the situation with maintaining consistency in the hill shapes. And yes, in case I've just revealed it to you, what I've done is I've placed a black colored piece of foam core behind my chair. And onto that piece of foam core is also some black poster board. Why? The lights, for one thing, are shining into, as you can see just a little bit, shining into this camera. And I'm attempting to stop that from happening by putting up this black barrier behind me. I think it's going to be expanded. I think it's a great idea, as opposed to hanging a fabric, which I can't do because of my proximity to the game table. I want to be close to the game table so that when I spin around in my chair, I'm right at the game table. And so what you will see if I do that is you will see the chair spin, and the black foam core poster board will be presented to you, and it'll block out any image, and the lights, which hopefully will be good. Okay, so what I'm going to do, speaking of which, I'm going to spin around or leave the chair and take the new hills that I've constructed out of the foam core. I'm sorry, out of the foamies 6mm thick foam, and show you the difference on the game table. As I've said, those hills that are on there right now are very cool looking, but they are just decorative and not consistent. So in order to be consistent to the size of the hexes and such, I've constructed these layered, contoured hills, and I'll put those in there right now. You'll see that. So immediately, you can see the incentive and the reason for doing it. The the shapes are consistent with the hex grid layout, and of course, I can always paint them, decorate them with rocks and flocking and lichen or anything else, or actually lichen. I suggest that everybody avoid it. Any kind of organic plant like that on the game table should be avoided. Now, the small bits of foam, I could easily do that. And because we rarely have anything on the slope of the hill because of the combat considerations when you are on a slope. So when a mech is on a slope, because we've tiered the foamies the way we have, you can put the mech on the slope, but because you're on the slope, if you end the turn or you are in the middle of a turn, or anyway, the mech is on the slope, there are certain combat penalties for being on a slope and firing, if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then simply ignore it. But the reason we say things like that is because we want to give players the possibility of having as much potential realism as possible. And having something on the slope, especially in World War II, this is evident all the time. If you're on the slope and you attempt to fire, you've got to have pretty darn good gunnery skills and driver skills to be able to negotiate a slope at the same time you're doing any combat. probably in World War II, it's never good, and you're probably never going to hit your target. But it is possible. It's not impossible. It's just very unlikely you're going to hit when you are traveling either up a hill on a slope or along the slope, going, like you're going like this. You're going like this on the slope. So, I mean, it did happen. So that's why it has to be considered. So as you can see with these hills, that's pretty remarkable difference. And the other hill, now remember, these are 1/4 inch, 6 millimeter thick. So essentially that hill is just 1 millimeter shy of 25 millimeters or 1 inch. And as a matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could make yet another layer to bring it up even taller, and so on and so on. Because, okay, why are we doing this? Because in reality, in geology, geography, geomorphology, you never have a hill just going wink, right? It doesn't just go wink and then that's a hill. It's always a gradual, very, very gradual hill slope to the top of a hill. So it's very like, and when you think about it, every hill is like somewhat flat on the top, but then it comes from or it originates from a lower elevation. Okay, so it may be twisty-turny, but the fact of the matter is that when you look at it in profile, the hill starts like this. All right, so that's how that works. And I suppose, now that I've started this, I should probably replace all the hills with legal hills. So we'll come back.